So let's start a big fuss over the subject matter in this video. I can hear it now. Why in the world are you, North American, trying to talk people into coming to our country? I'm not. That's the simple answer. I don't have to talk anybody into wanting to move to Costa Rica. But I do think it's a good idea to discuss some of the issues that people coming here might cause and that people coming here might have. This time, I'm going to be talking about residency, the three generally accepted paths to both temporary and permanent residency, and what they call perpetual tourism, which is sometimes a problem and sometimes just misunderstood. For decades, Costa Rica has made it very easy for people to stay in the country without having to apply for or obtain residency. It used to be 90 days that a person could stay in the country without having to leave and return to reset the date on their passport. This past year, lawmakers increased that time to 180 days, which basically means that you only have to leave the country and return twice a year. There was some concern in the beginning that that law was going to lead to other laws that would end perpetual tourism altogether. And as a matter of fact, there was some legislation introduced that will require people who don't have residency to remain outside the country for a significant period of time, whether 90 days or 180 days, before they can return. And that's going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of people. And I can hear the howling and the screaming and yelling from locals and people who may not be thinking about the fact that some of the people who would get exiled by that new law, if it passes, are property and business owners in Costa Rica and pay taxes and pay salaries to Ticos who they employ. It might be a little bit of a slippery slope if Costa Rica does choose to go down that road. So the first category I'm going to talk about for residency is the pensionado. The pensionado category was set up especially for retirees and people like me who draw some type of pension from their home country. It has some pretty minimum requirements. You have to be able to show the documentation that you'll be receiving that pension for ever, or for at least the foreseeable future. The threshold for income is pretty low with this one. You have to be able to show a regular deposit of $1,000 per month. The second much used category is the rentista category. And in that one, you have to show an income of $2,500 USD for at least the next 2 years. In other words, you need extensive documentation showing a history of that and showing where it's going to come from, or you need to show that that money is in a bank account that you own with regular transfers into your Costa Rican account. This can get tricky. And it's a ton of documentation. You have a lot of stuff to prove, and you're definitely going to need an attorney. There are people who have applied for and received residency without an attorney, but 9 times out of 10 or 99.9 times out of 100, those are going to be people who are already familiar with Costa Rica law and who speak very good Spanish. The third category is the investor category. And in this one, you can purchase property, whether it be a home or land or a combination of the two, that has a value of $150,000 as a minimum. And for some people, this seems like an easy one, a no-brainer. The house they're looking at costs 2 and 3 times that. So buy the house and qualify for residency. But one thing that everybody needs to consider, no matter which category they're going for in regard to residency, is that once your residency is approved, you will then owe a monthly payment into the Caja, which is the Costa Rica public healthcare system. And the amount you pay into that Caja is going to be tied directly by the category you're in and the amount of income that you have verified to qualify. And let me tell you, I have heard, I don't know if you want to call them horror stories, but I have certainly heard some unpleasant stories of people in the investor category having to pay $500 and $600 a month for their public healthcare Caja. Whereas people in the pensionado category, it may be $100 a month or maybe even less. The only way you're going to know is to have a good qualified Costa Rican attorney on that case and make it clear to them that it's one question with an answer that is very important to you. There's also a fourth residency category that I'm not really going to talk about much because it's not been a really popular category and it has underperformed, I think, as far as what the Costa Rican government expected from it in the beginning. And I'm not completely clear on the requirements for it, but that is the category of digital nomad. My understanding is that it's not what it's cracked up to be, and the benefit just isn't there for most people. Now, if Costa Rica does implement this thing where perpetual tourists are no longer allowed to leave the country and come back, then the digital nomad residency might start to look a little different. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. Regardless of which category you're going for, whether it's pensionado, rentista, or investor, you have to first begin with temporary residency, which is a period of 2 years. Now, in order to qualify for permanent residency, you have to demonstrate a temporary residency of 3 years. So halfway through that second cycle of temporary residency is when you would begin your application for permanent residency. And with permanent residency comes the right to work in Costa Rica and some other benefits that I think are going to be worth it for a lot of people in the long run. This video is just a brief overview of these things, a very bare bones outline of what you can expect. And again, I can't encourage you enough to seek a qualified attorney here in Costa Rica who can assist you with that process. I understand that my account here is new, and I also understand that it takes time to grow. But what else it takes to grow are subscribers. And I've been getting a few. It's a slow trickle in. But if you think that the content that I've been providing here has value, please subscribe. I need more subscribers to reach more people. Follow, subscribe, and pura vida.